They scored in the red zone. They were 4 for 4, and we were not. We had some mess-ups in the red zone. So for us to win, we had to play great defense. We have to do that each week because it was the strength of our team coming in this year. And to do that, you have to stop the run, you have to put pressure on the quarterback, and you have to force turnovers. And we did none of the three. We have to have a dominating kicking game. We did some great things in the kicking game on Saturday, but in each phase there was one part that kept us from grading a winning performance in that area. And then you've got to score in the red zone on offense, and we still are not doing that. You also have to play with passion week in and week out. I thought the kids mostly played hard. They did not play with passion and confidence, and that's something we've prided ourselves on here for a long time. So in my opinion, we've got some entitlement on our team. Like we had in 06 and 07, we got to get it fixed and got to change it. I thought we fixed it in the open date. We had a real difficult practice the week before and after Oklahoma. We saw benefits of that. We reaped the benefits of that out in Lincoln, but obviously it did not carry over. So a year after winning a conference championship and playing for a national championship 8 months ago, our coaches aren't stupid. They do know what they're doing, but they do know that we should not lose to Iowa State and Austin. They do understand that. They know we shouldn't have lost the game to UCLA like we did, and they also know that that's not the standard of coaching that we've worked hard to get over the last 12 years. We obviously didn't play as a team. For instance, we're sitting there with 5 minutes in the third quarter and we kick a field goal. We kick off and they return it 45 yards and score in about 5 plays. So we had a chance to answer. We had a chance to turn the momentum, and we just didn't do it at that time. So the next series, we come back. We're driving the ball. We get the ball down to the 28-yard line going in, and a ball bounces off of a receiver's hands. Iowa State intercepts it again, so it cost us points at that point. Early fourth quarter, we've got another chance. Our only turnover for the game was at our 45-yard line going in. So we had great field position. We're still in the ball game at a 21-6 where we can make something happen. And the next play, an offensive lineman gets beat, ball pops out of Garrett's hands, and they intercept it and go in and score to make it 28-21. At that point, I was proud that the kids did keep fighting because they did not quit. They didn't give up, especially offensively, because they kept working to try to get back in the ball game. But we never took advantage of the situations that we had. Defensively, we didn't make any of our objectives, which is very unusual for us. As we said, the goal was to stop the run, pressure the quarterback, force turnovers, get off the field on third down, stop them in the red zone, and we even had situations come up on a 3rd and 18 where we've got 3 guys standing there and they out-jump us for the ball, which was a killer at that time because that led to points. We had another time after the turnover where we've got a guy double covered and they throw over his head into the end zone to catch the ball. So we just did not make plays. So they were 4 for 4 in the red zone. We still had 8 3-and-outs. We only had 2 sacks and we only forced 1 turnover. When we talked about what we would have done differently as you look back on a game, which I always try to do, Coach Muschamp felt like that we probably did too much. When we weren't stopping the run early, we weren't making the plays we needed to make. We started moving and blitzing and trying to get to the quarterback, trying to stop the run with some run blitzes. We didn't play well inside on defense, and they hit some big runs. Defensive line got tired, so we should have played more people in the defensive line. We've got to do that. We've talked about it. But Saturday we did not. Offensively, we only made one of our objectives. There was 9 explosive plays. They did play hard, but again, they didn't play with confidence and passion. I thought sometimes they played up tight and felt like they had to make a play every time to win the game. We lost 4 turnovers, like against UCLA, and you're not going to win when you lose 4 turnovers, and one of them especially a momentum killer right after you gain momentum to lose it back. Had an interception in the end zone, which is a killer for points. We had a motion penalty on 4th and 1 at the 1 where we score and have to come back and lose 4 points because we kick a field goal. And then we missed a field goal from 37 yards. What would we do differently? And talking to Coach Davis, he said he felt like we should have stayed more balanced. We left the running game too soon, got frantic a little bit and started trying to catch up real fast and didn't play well enough in the passing game to do that. So we obviously need to stay more balanced. Still not scoring enough in the red zone, too many turnovers. It seems like on some weeks, last week we didn't have a turnover. So it's just the inconsistency of who shows up to play. still not making enough third downs, and the red zone's killing us. There's opportunity after opportunity to score, and we're not getting touchdowns. Special teams, we did a lot of great things. I said 10 guys graded winning performances. But again, kickoff coverage was great all but once when we had to have it. They had a 42-yard return out to the 45-yard line. Kickoff return was much better. We returned, DJ had one 38-yard return, but again, they gave up the onside kick, which lost a possession for us. And you just can't possibly do that. You've got to be prepared for it, and they executed it perfectly. Punt team, we averaged 50.2 yards per punt, 45.2 yards net. 2 of them were down inside the 20. John Gold had a 63-yard punt. Justin Tucker had a 70-yard punt, but we also gave up a 32-yard punt out of our end zone that led to points for them. So none of those got their objectives. We averaged 16 yards on punt return. Curtis Brown had 2 returns for a total of 48 yards. One of the returns, we had a block in the back. We misjudged another 74-yard punt that rolled Ed at the 2. So field position came a real nightmare for the offense. And while we had 2 punts inside the 20, they had 4. Extra point and field goal, we missed a 32-yard field goal. You look at Baylor, you got to give them a lot of credit. They're 6-2. They're bowl eligible. They lead the South. They're ranked 25th in the country. It's the first time they've been ranked since 1993. They're bowl eligible. Haven't been to a bowl since the Alamo Bowl in 1994. Their stats are very impressive. Jay Finley had a school record 250 yards rushing against Kansas State. He had an 82-yard run, which is the second longest in school history. Robert Griffin threw for a career-high 404 yards. It was also only the 5th 400-yard passing game in Baylor history. His 4 touchdowns were his career high. Last 2 weekends, Baylor's gotten 683 yards of total offense, which set a school record, and it broke the school record set last week against Kansas for 678 yards with a 683 against Kansas State. They're averaging 42.7 points per game the last 4 games. They're averaging 602 yards on offense and playing much better defense. You look at Robert Griffin. He's 3rd in the country in total offense, producing 344 yards himself. His passing efficiency is 14th in the country and 1st in the Big 12. They have great receivers. Robert Griffin's been phenomenal. I can't imagine him not being in the Heisman talk as you start looking at what he's accomplished over the last few weeks. You look at them defensively, and the biggest thing on defense, they're playing with a lot more speed. The big tackles have grown up. They're playing very well. Phil Taylor from Penn State, 6'4", 340 pounds, and Nicholas John Batiste is 6'1", 330. And they hold the middle down really well, but they're faster at linebacker. They can really run. They've always been good in the secondary, and for whatever reason, you have to give them credit for it. They've always been good in the kicking game since we've been here. Kendall Wright's a guy that's on the watch list for the Blint-McCough Award. He's got 5 touchdowns. He's averaging 14 yards every time he touches it. As we said, Finley's averaging 6.6 yards every time he touches it. They've got other good receivers, but the key is Robert Griffin. He's a great player and a good leader, and they'll come in here ready to play.
Coach, you used the word.
Ed.
Yes, sir. You used the word desperate talking about Iowa State. Is your football team now in that desperate category? How would you categorize where you are right now?
Oh, we need to win, Ed. I think desperate was Iowa State played horribly for 2 weeks in a row and gave up a bunch of yards and looked bad, and they needed to come in here and play hard and play well, and we're at that point. I'd rather win. Playing hard here doesn't count. Winning here counts.
How hard is it to fix the attitude of some players? And it is, I guess, that entitlement change to pride taking, realizing that it's time to.
Well, that's what you do as a coach. It is hard because I worried about this team in the first scrimmage. I said it the first Wednesday scrimmage we had. I didn't see the passion and emotion, and you do with some players, but other players have to do that. Then out at Tech, you saw it. Then UCLA, you didn't see it. Then at Oklahoma, we saw it. They got a slow start, but they did hang in there and came out and played. 2 weeks ago at Lincoln, they played their hearts out, but to play twice too hard and against Oklahoma and Nebraska, and then come out and lay an egg with the passion and emotion that's my job to get that fixed, and we'll just keep working on them. I tried last week. I tried hard, and nobody listened. And I was not surprised how hard Iowa State played, and they gained confidence during the game because we allowed them to. And if you do that, it's a script of the UCLA game. UCLA came in struggling. They weren't sure they could win. We allowed them to stand around and get some confidence, and then we tightened up a little bit and couldn't come back and pull it out. And the same thing happened Saturday. I was so disappointed in our defense in the last drive when they're going to run right up the middle. We've still got 2 timeouts. We can still stop them. We can still win the game, and they make a first down running right at us. So that's just not the personality we've had around here and not the one we can have.
Coach, how do you balance between trying to change mindset, but you're midstream in the season trying to prepare for football games, but you got mindset to change on a football team?
You just have to do it every day. We did it over the open date, and again, we thought we did it this week, but I've been really hard on the coaches. I've been really hard on the players, and it's our responsibility to get it fixed. My job is no different than any other CEO that has problems. Everybody that's a boss in the country has problems, and they have to fix them. Mine are just more public, and they're dealing with kids. That's the only difference. And the public part, if they can't handle reading bad about themselves, they need to play better. If they can't handle people bashing them, they need to play better, or don't read it and play better. If they play better, people change fast. And that's the biggest thing I've told them. Grow up. If you play bad, can't ask anybody to do anything until you play better. Then you can call on some help. It's hard to ask for help when you're not doing your job.
Coach, for lack of a better term, do you feel like the want to is there?
Yes. It's a great group of young people. They're trying. They want to. I just think we're immature. The entitlement of last year we won, Coach. Why didn't we win Saturday? Well, you don't make the plays together to win. So we're working through some of that right now to get that fixed. And what we do is we take each play and show them when we score, the kickoff coverage team has to stop them, get a 3 and out, we go score again. We've done that for 12 years. So when you get a turnover offense, you cannot turn it right back over. Make a play. It's one guy, and he needed to block, and that's a chance to go win the game. Only field position of the day that we had and didn't take advantage of it. So it's obviously situations where everybody can get mad and scream and shout and throw things. I've got to fix it. And the only thing I can do to fix it is you try to look at your personnel. And if somebody's not playing well, usually the one behind him doesn't play any better. He'd be ahead of him. But you try to stir some guys up. You try to look at we were wide open Saturday, and it didn't work. Everybody wants wide open. Wide open's good when a wide open works. Wide open gets shut when you turn the ball over. So we've got to go back and play as a team again together, like we did in Lincoln. Lincoln's what we're looking for, and it's there. We just got to do it again.
And the idea, I guess, is to don't rest on your laurels just because you made a good play.
Oh, yeah. No, we've got I got more emotional, motivational sayings and emotional stuff up in the locker room I've ever had. You can't even see the walls. We got stuff everywhere. You figure with this team, you got to throw it up on the wall and hope some of it sticks.
Matt, can you explain the reluctance to use DJ Monroe more offensively? He's obviously done well with the touches he's had.
Right. I thought Greg and I and Will have talked a lot about this press conference over the last month and this year, and I don't think it's fair for me to sit here and talk, and then you all bring Greg up and ask him the same questions Tim talked. So Greg's the offensive coordinator. He makes those decisions. He'll be here in a few minutes, and I'll let him answer that for you, and he will.
Coach, you say you shouldn't lose to a team like Iowa State here. You kind of stress that. Does the same apply for a Baylor team?
Oh, that applies to everybody. We don't expect to lose to anybody here. That's been our motto. We expect to win and want to win, and right now we're not playing well enough. And I did not think our team as a whole respected Iowa State as much as they should. And that's a disease. You got to change it. You got to change it. They won't have trouble respecting Baylor. They can put on a little film now. 47 points and 55 points the last 2 weeks. The way we played this weekend, it will not be a week where we have to worry about respecting Baylor. They're ranked and we're not.
Do you tell the guys that are backing the starters up that this is a week that they have an opportunity like that?
Tell them every day.
Is it the same all year?
Hadn't changed all year. We haven't changed one thing. Haven't changed one thing. We went back to first of the year. You had to earn your job every day. That's why the depth charts really shouldn't matter much. A lot of the injuries curtail that some because your backups have to play. They're forced to play like in the offensive line. But it's there for somebody's picking after a week like this for sure. When a guy doesn't play well, somebody else needs to step up. But you go back and grade in practice. And if a guy makes 4 mental errors on Thursday in practice, he's not going to play above another guy. So he's got to prove in practice that he's ready to do that.
Are there some teams where you can motivate them mentally? For instance,
The motivation comes on a team against a team like UCLA that they don't know much about and they don't have respect for. It comes against a team like Iowa State, where Iowa State had played so poorly. They watched the film, and we missed it on both cases. We didn't get our team motivated either one, and that really bothers you. They know Baylor. Baylor's an old Southwest Conference team. They got a bunch of buddies on the Baylor team. They'll play hard this weekend. And that's if it's an old Southwest Conference team or usually a Big 12 South team, they play hard. Some of the Big 12 North teams in the past, we just haven't gotten the word across to them because our fans don't have history with them, our media don't have history with them, and we actually took stuff out from Iowa State last week and said, here's Ames, here's pictures, here's their university, here's their colors, here's their mascot, because our guys don't know anything about them, and I think they just took the game for granted. I do think it'll help next year when you're playing a team every year and you're going back and forth every year, that you'll have a better sense of exactly who they are when you see them every week.
Do you think even though Baylor hasn't been successful in the last 15 years, do you think that carries over to the players a little bit? They may not respect them in that?
After last week, I don't have any idea what carries over to the players. You might ought to ask them.
Will you talk about Garrett? How do you think he's handling
It's just part of the growing process, and part of being the quarterback here is handling the scrutiny.
You've got a lot of friends in the coaching community. Do you call some of them and say, hey, how do you get out of this funk? Or is that just something, you've been here a long time, do you seek advice from Coach Roll or some former coaches in these situations?
No, none of them know your kids. They don't know your situation. So really and truly, you get more advice. I had a guy stop me at the elevator and wanted a few minutes to talk about the Baylor game. And I said, I've really got some people waiting. That's why I was late getting up here. And he said, yeah, but I got some really good stuff here. And he held out an article in the paper, and he said, we got some things we need to fix. And I said, well, no question. And he said, and I said, well, we got Baylor, so we got to move forward here. And he said, I'm talking about Baylor too. I got some things I need to talk to you about with Iowa State, but I got some things at Baylor we need to fix now. And when will you be through? And I said, well, I'm not sure. I usually get through about 12:30 or so. And he said, can I wait? And I said, well, I kind of got some film and some other stuff to watch. I said, would you be kind enough to write down those thoughts so I could get them? So I'm not short on thoughts this week. I got plenty of suggestions. That's not it. But I've been here before. I fixed it before. It's time your head coach has to step up and be strong, be tough. And I am tough, and I am strong, and I'll fix it. And that's what we're going to do.
Okay, Coach, we need to go to the conference call.
Thanks.
Thanks.